Well, hi, if anybody is watching. I may have decided to start this live stream without actually talking to anyone before. So therefore this live stream can be told to be a little bit of an unplanned one. It may be it won't be my last live stream before I take a trip to New York, but it will definitely be one that I just had to do right now. Yeah, this is me talking. Let's talk cartoons. I already got a guest, Jabari Owens. Well, what's good, you say? Yeah, it's me. It's all good. I hope you're good too. This is me trying to talk a little bit about Batman the Animated Series. I'm saying trying because, well, that show is not exactly ranked high on my list. I know what you're trying to say. Are you kidding? One of the greatest animated cartoons ever, and you do not rank it high on the list? Hey, and I answer to you, hey dudes, I did actually watch the entire season before I, decided to talk about it. So not that I remember every single episode there is, but 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 I know at least a little bit of it. And yeah, Harry Owens, it is from '92. One of the it's called the first show from the DCAU, street name DC's animated universe, which was basically a lot of cartoons almost following the same continuity, the same world, except some were sequels, other were in between stories, and the others what happened before that and that. Other shows that followed that trend were, now let's see, can I say them in order? There were Batman the Animated Series, there was Superman the Animated Series, then I think it was Batman Beyond. After that it was Justice League. In between that must have been Static Shock and Setup Prime or whatever it was called. And finally, Justice League Unlimited, although I will tend to place Unlimited just the same as Justice League. So, in the end, these are those series, and this is my talking about it. It does not have an intro. Sorry, I did not do an intro. It was basically as da 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 da. So either way, let's talk about the show. Batman the Animated Series start off a lot of Bruce Lee's beginning as the Caped Crusader, not intentionally, but one of them. Oh, and before I do that, does Teen Titan count? No, my friend, I do not think it counts. It was in a separate universe, mostly because Robin did not have the same voice actor and he did not have the same design. So I think I would count Teen Titans in a separate universe. So but either way, in this Batman one, Batman started his crusades where where he fights for justice and defeats criminals. He's known as the Dark Knight because, well, he is the terror in the night. And the first of many of these episodes mostly just reflect Batman's beginning. It's technically not Batman's beginning, but you can really say that he starts to become, that he's a different person in the first, well, I would say maybe 16 episodes or so, maybe 18. Because this story mostly has had him battling his rogue gallery. Everything from Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, the Penguin, and Leatherface. Oh, and let's not forget his arch nemesis, the Joker. Hi on you too, Heart96. You to all that. Or maybe I should say, maybe that's a little bit scarier. It's so it basically has this plots. There are some deeper plots of this episode, including the fact that Batman in later episodes take on a sidekick, one he named Robin. Tim Drake, which shows an episode of him shows his past. Dick Grayson, as he was called, was a circus brat. What I mean by that, a boy born in a family of circuits. His circus family was killed in a sabotage incident when they were performing because of an extortionist. But Bruce Wayne, the Batman, having lost his family at a young age, because I forgot to actually mention this, although technically I think it's actually common knowledge to every single one who have watched a Batman series and a movie. However, what I'm trying to say is this Batman, Bruce Wayne, lost his family in a mugging incident where a mugger threatened his family, Martha and Dwayne Wayne. And the father tried to protect them. Unfortunately, his mom and dad was gunned down right before him. Traumatized and broken for life, Bruce decided to become a different man in order to avenge them and make a place a better world. It also created his hatred for guns. He traveled around the world, trained with the greatest martial artists, learned the greatest escape routes, because there's even an episode that shows that. But all the while, when he grew up, he became more and more isolated and more, well, as the same. He then later created the Batman getup after he realized he needed an image which his enemies would fear. And bats are people that a lot of people fear. He became the intimidating Batman. So that's basically this show, if I'm talking about the show. Now, and what it was about the show. Now talk about the characters. Again, the main character of this show is Bruce Wayne, aka the Batman. As I said before, a traumatized young man who, after having lost his parents, traveled around the world, etc., etc. As I said before. It also stars his faithful butler and the only confidant Bruce Wayne 100% trusts, Alfred Pennyworth, a butler that has served the family of Waynes for a very long time and is basically like a second father to Bruce, or at least his close ally. He is later joined by Robin, Dick Grayson, and later on even Batgirl, who is the daughter of the Commissioner Gordon, a police officer that actually has a lot of faith in Batman, and even his and then Commissioner Gordon's sidekicks. Other episodes later details other characters as well. But mostly these are just the main characters of the show. He tackles, though, his arch nemesis. Most of them, in most shown, the Joker, the crazy mad clown that we all hate and we all love because, well, he is just that insane of a character. As well as he also loses one of his best friends, Harvey Dent, when Harvey Dent, his face get mutated, turning him into the villain of Two-Face. So yeah, it's basically, well, it's one of those characters about in the show. And as I said before, one of the things that makes this series a lot of powerful is because Bruce Wayne becomes darker the more the series goes on, because he loses one of his best friends, Harvey Dent, to a freak accident, which he also blames himself for. He cannot save a lot of people that gets in danger because of the Joker, and he also cannot save some, and also he almost get wrapped in a love romance with Talia al Ghul, almost, when his father Ra's al Ghul, an arch nemesis, tries to force Batman to become a successor. Now this so Batman becomes a little bit darker the seasons goes on, although that's only me. Now let's talk about the voice cast. I see that everyone is left, but that's not surprising. It wasn't supposed to be. I wasn't supposed to be that good. It's now let's talk about the voice cast, though, because it is a doozy. This Batman is very famous for being voiced by Kevin Conroy, arguably the most famous Batman voice today, and who can blame him? After all, the guy has voiced Batman for over 30 years or so in many different spin-offs and many different performances, so to speak. So yeah, I'm just saying. Of course, they would make him the. I mean, they did not make him, but of course, he is the standard Batman voice that everyone adore. And he uses two different voices for Bruce Wayne and Batman, even though they sound similar. As Bruce, he has a little light-hearted voice, but as Batman, his voice gets deeper, although it's still the same. Dick Grayson was voiced by Lauren Lester, a guy who unfortunately does not really have that much more famous on his blood. However, he is still a very good Alfred Pennyworth, at least for the 3 episodes he was voiced by. For 3 episodes he was voiced by Clive Revill. The rest of the series, his voice actor was an old man named Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., who were apparently famous for voiceover work as Dr. Octopus in the Spider-Man animated series, and as well as Justin Hammer from the second season of an Iron Man 1994 series, as well as a recurring role on the series Maverick. Commissioner Gordon was voiced by Bob Hastings, and also a deceased actor. Not really 100% sure if I knew anything he was famous for, because I didn't really know that many things. Detective Harvey Bullock, the fat sidekick of Gordon, is voiced by Robert Costanzo, very famous for being the voice double of Danny DeVito, aka playing Phil in a lot of. And I mean Phil, I mean the Sutter mentor to Hercules in the Disney's Hercules series. So he's most famous for doing Danny DeVito's voice double, so to speak. And he technically does sound like him, almost. But he voiced Phil in the games of Kingdom Hearts. And Barbara Gordon, is voiced by Melissa Ellen Gilbert, an actress who even served as president of the Screen Actors Guild from 2001 to 2005, and even ran for U.S. Congress as a Democrat, but then dropped out. Do not know if she does any more movies and stuff like that, or even if she tries still to do voiceover work. Later, and then there are a lot of different characters who guest appears here. Mayor Hamilton Hill, a strange mayor, is voiced by a character Lloyd Boschner, also a deceased actor. Not exactly, his name doesn't really ring a bell for me. Jonah Hex, a character that's only one episode, is voiced by Bill McKenzie, famous for playing a sadistic mountain man in Deliverance. And Satara, another character who only appeared here, is voiced by Julie Brown, an actress who is famous for making comedy that mocks a lot of people. She did not return to voice her in the Justice League series, maybe because she was controversial. Also, another one-shot character was the Grey Ghost, who ironically was voiced by Adam West. Why is that ironical? Well, because Adam West was the first Batman, the comical and campy one. Then we get to the villains. The Joker. Oh man, the Joker. This, my friends, if anyone is still watching, was the Joker's voice actor. This was his voice acting debut, and he will become one of the most sought-after villain voice actors after this one. Mark Hamill, trying to desperately find a new set of piece that was not associated with Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill created the Joker, and it's sorry, I can't do his laugh, but yeah, he made it. It's true, kiddies. He was the Joker. And just like Kevin Conroy has voiced the Joker over a lot of different years, despite the fact that I actually think he should retire from that role. Not because he's bad or anything. It's just that we gotta give new people a chance too. Although technically a lot have been given that chance. And yeah, this was Mark Hamill's voice acting debut, at least the voice acting debut that launched his voice acting career. Today, he's one of the most sought after voice actors in the business. Harvey Dent was voiced by Richard Moll, a guy who also apparently has been having some roles under his belt, but not really that many, so to speak. Apparently, Born the Unspeakable from Freakazoid and Norman in the Mighty Max series is among one of those things, as well as let's see, the Scorpion in later episodes of Spider-Man the Animated Series, and also he voiced the Abomination of the Incredible Hulk. So, Richard Moll played an excellent Harvey Dent Two-Face, mostly because he switched between two different voices. When it was Harvey Dent, he had a little bit like, I don't think he wants to talk. There's an excellent scene where a therapist tried to get to Big Bad Harv, which later became Two-Face and took over the personality. And when she got to him, she asked, Big Bad Harv, speaking. That was a powerful one. Harley Quinn, the abused girlfriend of the Joker, was voiced by Arlene Sorkin, who ironically never came back to voice Harley Quinn after the video game of Arkham Asylum. Why? I have no idea. Maybe she decided to retire from acting altogether. Yeah, I think she did. I think she actually retired from acting. And maybe she has decided it was not good enough. Too bad, really. She really was entertaining in that. Paul Williams voiced the Cobblepot, apparently a singer and a songwriter of many different songs, like Our Fashion Love Song and Out in the Country. Adriana Bourdou voiced Catwoman, also a classic actress known for playing Rizzo in the musical Grease. So, and perhaps even a lot more stuff like that as well. And then John Glover voiced the Riddler, also having some rules, including it's him. John Glover was famous for playing Lex Luthor's father in the Smallville series, but he was also famous as a voice acting one to be playing a villainous character Dyson in Tron: The Uprising series. Diana Pursley voiced Poison Ivy. Do not know her much, although she did have a pretty interesting career, to say the least. And Henry Pollack, the second, voiced Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow, although later on, damn, have I already forgotten what he was? Yeah, I've already forgotten who he was. Later on, that guy will be replaced by another actor who was also extremely famous. The Scarecrow was a villain who was famous to breaking Batman by creating fear, so to speak. And Jeffrey Combs voiced the Scarecrow in another one. Henry Pollack, Roddy McDowell, also a well-known voice actor, especially in The Cult from Cleopatra and stuff like that, played the Mad Hatter. Aaron Kincaid played the Killer Croc. Not exactly famous for much, although from Skylinks as the Transformers. Ron Perlman, one of the also most sought-after voice actors of this business, played Clayface. And if you're asking who he is, well, let's just say, what hasn't he done? He has done a lot of voice acting business. Like he was in, like, let's see if I can count most of them. He was Jax Ur in Superman the Animated Series. He was Carl in Jackie Chan's. Let's see if he was. He was Slade in Teen Titans, one of his more longer roles. He was even Killer Croc and Bane in The Batman. Firelord Sozin in the Avatar: The Last Airbender. Adventure Time as the Lich. And yeah, even Armagon in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014 series. And as Bular in the Troll Hunter series. So then Henry Silva played Bane. David Warner, and the man who inspired the voice from Corey Burton to play Shockwave, was the voice of Ra's al Ghul. Michael Anasara voiced Mr. Freeze, famous for Star Trek. And yeah, the list goes on. So yeah, the list is extremely long. Sorry if I bored anyone with that one. It was a long list. But every single actor delivered excellent. Most of them are not in the business right now. Hell, half of them are dead. Because, well, may they rest their souls, mind you. Well, but what their legacy they left behind was undoubtedly amazing. The one who was younger, who was older now, particularly Catwoman, Batman, Joker, Clayface, and a lot of things more definitely left an impact, and this was one of their starting points, voice actor roles that really, really set the marks. Now let's talk about the strong points of this series. Well, the strong points. Well, the strong points of the Batman series was it was actually very serious. While not that serious, it certainly wasn't a kind-hearted series, so to speak. It dealt with a lot of issues, including issues such as loss. I mean, Bruce Wayne lost his family, fear, insecurity, having a family, how things make you lose control, schizophrenia, and loss of loved one that makes you evil. Romance with those that does not really match you that much. In loss of identity, and even Stockholm syndrome, so to speak. Although manipulational syndrome, I guess I should say. So the list of this, and also the characters had guns, real life guns that shot bullets, not lasers. So it was certainly one of the more darker series of its time. The Batman, the animated series, created by Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski. As we all know, Bruce Timm was the most famous creator of this series, and also the character that actually illustrated Harley Quinn. It created this series in 1992, and it ended in 1995 with the 2 long seasons and 85 episodes. And many were dark. And as I said before, the Batman became darker as the series went on. But the art also changed after the second season, particularly when Batman got a new sidekick, Tim Drake. Many of the villains were redesigned, a lot to match Superman the Animated Series, which was made almost immediately after this series, although maybe a little bit later. And it was they were changed in an animation to match the characters there. That is one of the things I can say is the weak point, because you can definitely see the neo-noir of Batman, the animated series, in the first season. But when it comes to the second season, the art takes a little different turn. It's still dark, mind you. The art is still dark. It's just that it's not really the same art. And you can see some slight redesigns, but only slight. The one who suffered the most from that was Catwoman. Yeah, I barely even recognized her. I tell you that much. So let's see. Another thing that was inspired by this series was actually Batman and Batman Returns, the live-action films of made by Tim Burton, the guy who no one believed will actually make a good Batman series. And who can blame him? It was who can blame them? They were having high expectations. But yeah, this was certainly one of the darker series. But also the weak points of the series could have been that it's while some was villain of the week episodes, there were some that just did not feel that much, especially when it took on a continuity that said that Bruce Wayne and Barbara Gordon dated, and Barbara Gordon was at least 20 years younger than him. I did not like that storyline, I tell you that much. Especially since Dick Grayson was said to have dated Barbara Gordon in the future. So I did not really like that moment, so to speak. And also didn't really get a proper series finale, but that's because Batman's adventure ended like that. And as we all know, Batman never really got a happy ending in this series. In fact, he never really ever got a happy ending. Although Batman Beyond was as close to a happy ending as we ever saw Bruce Wayne get. And that's not saying much, so to speak. Which is not really many weak points. Other than that, it's actually an addicted show. You go back. It may not have aged very well, but I recommend you people to go back and watch it, because it's really it really is an interesting show to see, and how the Joker can switch between just a very petty villain to a sadistic and cold monster. Which this is one of the reasons why the Joker has been called one of the most interesting villains of the Batman series. And also deals with Bruce Wayne's past, such as his relationship with his sensei and an old rival, and many more. As for favorite episodes, well, I have a lot of them. The Underdwellers is an episode that have an original villain but played a lot with the Fagin storyline, and that really showed vulnerability in children, and that really affected me, you could say. I've got a Batman in my basement when a couple of kids saves Batman. That's also worth noting. Heart of Ice, where we see Victor Fries, who in this storyline is portrayed as more as a tragic villain, as well as let's see now. Do I have any others? I have a lot more. Robin's Reckoning, we see Dick Grayson's past. The Laughing Fish, the more petty and a little bit dangerous sides of the Joker. Let's see here. Almost Got Him, which is basically just a villain relaxing episode that tells how they almost got close in killing Batman, only for Batman to have outsmarted them all in this moments. That's basically just a comedy one. Satana, detailing an old flame of Bruce Wayne's that he even reveals his identity to. Demon's Quest, or the thing. Well, no, not Demon's Quest. It was someone else. It was another one who had Etrigan the demon within it. Bane, and a lot more. I would definitely recommend going back and see the series. It may not be the most memorable one, and it may not have aged very well, but it certainly is a series that you will not regret watching. And it was also the staple for every amazing Batman or animated series that would follow Batman. And I'm gonna talk about almost all of them in the future, my friends, if anyone is watching, that is, because I had some commentators, but you all guys left later. Not surprising, though. This was not planned, really. So what drew me into the show was the dark atmosphere, the characters, and the storylines, really. Long episodes, but they really did have a drawing into them. So with that, I'll tell you, I don't know. I think I will do one more of these before I take a trip. I don't know which day. I am gonna say tomorrow, but no promises, really. No promises if I am gonna do it, really. If I do, I will do it at the same time as this time. But again, I won't say any promises. But if I'm gonna do the next Let's Talk, I will at least try to do it before next weekend. And then I will talk about the Gargoyles, or Gargoyle, Disney cult series that is definitely one that is a forgotten series, but also one of them the series that definitely is a very redrawn into. So I hope you all looking forward to that if I decide to talk about it. With that, I had to end the Batman the Animated Series. I give it a rating about 8 of 10 or 9 of 10. Definitely a cult series that you do not regret watching, especially from a performance that is not even famous by voice actors today. This was mostly just character actors voicing these roles, and they did not disappoint a single bit. So give me your thoughts if you have any. Bye.